Hello there and welcome to a brand new lesson. This is Happy Your Numbers where we learn maths the easy way. In this lesson, we are looking at question 1A of the 2026 BECE. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to factorize algebraic expression completely using the grouping method. You should be able to identify common factors within groups of terms, and then you should be able to recognize and apply the difference of two squares where applicable. These are solutions to the trial questions I gave after the previous questions. Without much ado, let's quickly look into it. So this here is question 1B of the BECE 2026. It's on factorization. So before we answer the question, let's quickly go through these facts. Now, when it comes to factorization by grouping, most of the times we're actually factorizing even pair of numbers. So you'd first have to group. If there are four, you group the four terms into pairs. You factorize each pair, then you factorize out the common bracket. That is a simple procedure we use. Into details, you group the first two and then the last two elements. You factorize out the highest common factor of each group. And by so doing, you realize that what you have in the bracket become the same. After which you then factorize out whatever you have outside the bracket. And you can check your answer by expanding. Even after factorizing, if you still have elements to factorize in the bracket, you still do that. So with this in mind, let's go to the question and find its solution. So looking at what we have here, it says you have to factorize completely x plus y. Then into another bracket, we have 2m minus n, then minus m into bracket and x plus y. Now, if you look at the expression carefully, you notice that this term is the same as what we have here. That is to say, this term, this particular term, that is the x plus y, appears in both terms. So what we can easily do is to factorize that out. You see, so we are bringing that out. Bringing that out simply means we are coming to put x plus y out here. Now, if this comes out, if we factorize it out, then we are asking ourselves x plus 1 times what? Give us all of this. One simple way you can do it is by saying whatever you have here, that is our x plus y, then the 2m minus n. Let's divide it by what? X plus y. If you have to divide, this cancels out to this and we'll be left with the 2m minus n. So in a bracket here, we have our 2m minus n. You see? So that with that, if we want to get back what we have, it is x plus y multiplying this whole thing over here, which give us all of this. So we are done with the first pair. Now, with our second pair, we have a negative m into bracket x plus y. And we want to divide it by what we factorize out. That is an x plus y. So the x plus y takes out the x plus y. And we'll be left with what? The negative m. So minus m. You see, so with this, you are done with the first part of the factorization. The next part is for you to simplify the expression inside this bracket because they are like terms we can work on. See, so we keep x plus y as it is, but then this time around we open this bracket. You know, there is one here. So if with this one, the bracket remains the same. So that we have a 2m minus n and then minus m with our bracket close. Then we would have to simplify this one. So if you have 2m minus n minus m what happens? You group like terms. So it simply implies you have a 2m minus m and minus n. 2m minus n gives us an m. We have m, then minus n. It simply means all that we have in this bracket would actually give us an m minus n. Hence, from this particular step, we have x plus y, which remains as it is. Then this bracket, which we have simplified, becomes an m minus n. And that is all for our factorization. This is your final answer. Now, if you had time and you actually want to check if what you have done is correct, this is how you can go about it. So for our factorized term, which is what we had here, it was an x plus y, then m minus n. So that is, if you had time, you don't do this in your answer sheet. So you'd want to check if what you did was actually correct. We expand. And in expansion, we know the x multiplies this whole bracket and then the y also multiplies this whole bracket. So that we have an x, then into bracket m minus n, then the y into another bracket m minus n. So we now expand this way as well. You see? So with that, we have our x times m, which gives us an mx. Then x times negative n gives us an nx. Then y times m would also give us my. And then y times negative n gives us a negative ny. Is there anything to group? There's actually nothing to group. This is our final answer. And then we come to the original question. The original question was what? An x plus y into brackets 2m minus n, then minus m into bracket x plus y. If you are to open up this, the x multiplies this whole bracket, and then the y also does so. So we have x times into bracket 2m minus n. Then you come to your y into bracket 2m minus n. And you can also expand this. So for this, it is a negative m, that is multiplying everything we have in the bracket. So you have negative m times x, that gives us a negative mx. The negative m times y, that gives us a negative my. Now we'll have to open these brackets as well. So x times 2m gives us a 2mx. Then x times a negative n gives us a negative nx. Y times 2m gives us a 2my. Then y times negative n gives us a negative ny. Then we have our negative mx, negative my. So with this, if we want to group like terms, you see we have a 2mx. So 2mx. Then we have a negative mx as well here. So 2mx written, the negative mx as well written. Then we have negative nx. So negative nx, we have written that. Then we have 2my, so positive 2my. And then there's also a negative my over here. We have written that. Then finally, we have a negative ny. So simplifying this further, we have 2mx minus mx. That gives us an mx. The negative nx is alone, so negative nx. 2my minus my will give us what? A positive my. And we have this, which is a negative ny. Now, if you look at what we have, you realize that this we have here is the same as what we had over here. It simply means what we did is correct. This is just to confirm your answer. But in the exam hall, if you are confident of what you have done, there will be no need trying to confirm your answer. You do this after you are done with a paper and you think you want to check or go through to confirm your answers. You see, that is why I don't advise my students to be sleeping in the exam hall. If you think you are done, go through. Maths is one of the subjects where you can actually get 100% because you'll be able to confirm all your answers before you leave the exam hall. So that ends our lesson on question 1B. As usual, I'll leave it some exercises so you try on your own. So here are some exercises you can try on your own. They are just 5 and they apply the same ideas we just explored on this question. In our next question, I would present the answers to you and you can compare just to confirm your answers. Let's have your numbers so we learn maths the easy way. If there's any issue of concern, you can always let me know at the comment section. You can as well go through the homepage where I have lessons on any topic of your choice. See you in our next lesson and bye for now. Just stay safe.